I'd love to run the poll right now. If you could pop that up. And I think we're going to be going to Menti. So if everybody online could go to menti.com and put in the code 920581. And the first question is, how much has the current crisis accelerated your organization's digital transformation efforts? That should say, has the current crisis. And your choices are, not at all, somewhat, significantly, radically. So hopefully everybody can jump to menti.com and put in the code 920581. Be interesting to see where we end up. I don't think these answers will surprise us too much, but it kind of reinforces probably what we already know. And what's interesting is I've gotten the opportunity to participate in a lot of roundtables in different industries in different parts of the globe. And no surprise, companies that are in the tech industry, for them, they almost had to just flip a very soft switch to move to this model. And those are also the companies that said, we have no intention of going back to work anytime soon. But then you have traditional companies, and I know, both you guys do have frontline workers. You're probably in that hybrid model where you are wrestling with some of this stuff. So, and it has caused some of your thinking to accelerate and rethink, but it's interesting. Any reaction to that? Sarah, Roger? Probably reinforces what you already thought. You might have thought more in the radical.
Yeah,
realm.
I mean, when I read this question, I probably would have said on the external kind of customer facing side, we were pretty advanced and really pushing, obviously Mastercard being a technology company in the payment space, all about, electronic payments. Where it has really accelerated our efforts, though, is on that internal side.
Middle of the organization.
Yeah. So when we went from 95% of our people in an office to overnight 95% at home, we realized what we actually needed and the infrastructure that was required and tools, many of which we had, by the way. So it wasn't about bringing on new tools. It was about changing the way that our people use the tools that were already in existence.
Yeah, it's great to be on this panel with Sarah, because Humana is almost the opposite. We were, like I said, about 38% in a virtual work environment prior to the crisis. So we were a little bit further down that path. In fact, we were starting to toy with the idea, believe it or not, that what was the threshold where you crossed a line to where it wasn't as productive to have 60% of your workforce virtual. We blew right through that and have demonstrated productivity, but we're slower on the customer side. If you think about healthcare and the way healthcare gets delivered, just like in a computer virus situation, the first thing you want to do is shut down your computer. Well, in a health crisis situation like we've had with COVID-19, is individuals and customers wanted to shut down their physical interaction with not only Humana members, but also their doctors and their providers, and even a lot of our in-home nurses. So we got pushed on the customer side much faster on the virtual side. And so virtual care, telehealth exploded during this time, as you can well guess, and so forth. So we really got propelled in significant, I would say almost radically, into the digital solutions for our customers. And we're still learning on the employee side, like Sarah is, but we've noticed the most change on the customer side.
Yeah, that's interesting, Roger. And you also have this very important intermediary, the healthcare worker, right? The clinician, the staff, and in many ways, they had to get the mindset that they could adopt telemedicine and it would actually make their life better, safer, more efficient, right? And I think this has absolutely produced a burst in that world for sure.
Yeah, well, we've challenged our assumptions there, Scott, to there were a lot of visits and a lot of things we did around in-home assessments and things like that we did face-to-face, and moving those digitally actually has improved the quality of them and at the same time put our employees at less risk.
Yeah, automation in the name of safety, pretty interesting boost. So I'm going to move to the next part of this topic. So obviously changing the mindsets in an organization starts with leaders. The leaders cast the shadow, they set the pace. I know you guys have both spoken a lot about this. We wrote some articles on what we call digital dexterity, this notion that it's not just digital leaders or those people touching digital in their job every day. It's every leader has the opportunity to be an enabler of transformation or a blocker, right? And we talk about this notion of a triathlete. Just like triathletes, you might have your best event like swimming, but you still have to be good enough at all three. You can't not do an event or you can't enter. So this idea that, digital dexterity, that you need to be able to look ahead and connect the dots wherever you sit in the organization, if you're running supply chain or HR or finance, and understand what those new changes mean for your part of the organization, be able to enable your team to execute with these new ways of working at scale. That's the driver part of it. And then leave enough space and bandwidth and time to go rethink your own function and reimagine it. So being able to do a little bit of all three of those is not natural for all leaders, but it would be great to hear, and somehow, once again, the stats aren't very, they're not very exciting, right? We're only at 10% of most organizations feel like they have the leaders and the digital awareness to go drive success in the future.